What's good, fam? It's that time again. Welcome to Relationship Realities with your host, Texas Brown Sugar. And I can't forget my guy, Jammer.
What's
Welcome,
happening? What's happening?
y'all. What is good?
Man, all my equipment just failed today. I'm like, what's going on? So I'm on my iPad, like I'm up. It just, we gonna make
Hey,
it do what it do though.
do what it do.
You
That's,
know.
that's all right. I mean, in this space, we're going to dig deep, we're going to laugh hard, and we're going to
Mhm.
get real about what it takes to build strong, healthy marriages. Now,
Mhm.
before we get into the videos for this evening, because we got some doozies again, we want to pause for the cause and let you know that you can get a free quote on insurance with BIA, Bowie Insurance Agency. Ebony is an excellent agent. She knows her stuff. We in this Davis household utilize her, and she is just great, wonderful. It does not cost a dime to go on over to the website, put your information in, and she'll give you a ring and give you a quote. It's totally
Uh-oh.
free. So hit her up. Tell her that Texas Brown Sugar sent you. Now, so that we can begin tonight. So, y'all know the phrase happy wife, happy
Mm.
life. The question, is it demonic? We have a young lady who says, let's see what she says.
Demonic quotes I've ever heard. Happy wife, happy life. Because if she's not happy, the whole house is in turmoil. Let me walk on eggshells. Don't want to upset her, because if I upset the wife, the whole house has to suffer. Stop giving place to the devil. You can't go around blaming people. Well, I woke up on the wrong side of the bed. Go get on the right side. Get back in. Roll over and try it again. But let it be the hidden man.
Jimmer, what is the first thing that goes through your mind when you hear that phrase, happy wife, happy life?
The first thing that comes to my mind when I hear that phrase, honestly, is making sure she's happy.
Hmm.
So you can be comfortable in your own domain. That's what I think about that when I hear, because it sounds like that statement's like, okay, if you ain't gonna make her happy, she's gonna make your life a living hell. That's what I have always taken from that.
Mhm.
Of course, you believe in making your partner happy. That's like first and foremost. But you also got to find happiness within too. So why is it just happy wife, happy life? It's almost like there's no balance there. Like if we standing on that seesaw, there's no balance because you putting all that energy and making somebody else happy
Yeah.
when you're not even focusing on self at the same time. That's what I've always taken from that statement.
It's funny because I never really truly grew up hearing that statement. It wasn't until, I don't know, my later years in life. And
Same.
and it always came from men. Oh, well, you know what they say, Ricky, or oh, you know what they say,
Mhm.
happy wife, happy life. And I never, to me, it came with more of a negative connotation as opposed to, I don't know if it's supposed to be positive, but it was not a statement that was meant to be a positive one.
Yeah. No, 100%. That's why it sounds like it's a selfish statement, really, is what it sounds like to me.
Well, do
But
you agree with the young lady that this is a phrase that carries some demonic connotations? And pause. I'm so sorry. For those who want to know, the creators that we are featuring tonight will are also featured in. Put them in the description below. So make sure you check them out, please.
mhm.
Yes. Do you agree with her idea that it is demonic?
I mean, she threw like some Bible verses in there to try to like have that connective tissue. But demonic is such a strong word because when we take a step back, though, what if somebody really does believe that? There's some dudes out there. Russell Wilson is probably one of them. Hey, happy wife, happy life. Like some dudes really do think that way, though. I mean, I don't think it's a issue. That's how you feel, bro. Do you? Like, I'm not somebody who's going to tell you to believe or think differently. If that's what makes you happy. Hey, man, do what you do. But that's why I can't say it's 100% demonic. I mean, demonic is just strong to me. That's just that when I think demonic, I'm thinking demon, devil, demigorgon. You know what I'm saying? It's a lot of D's in there that I'm thinking of. Like it's just I can't put demonic on it. Is it somewhat simp? Yeah, but demonic, come on.
Simp,
Like
simp.
that's heavy to say demonic.
It is very heavy. I also believe it it depends on how how much you put onto that statement. Like, is
Mm,
that your
good
straight up
point.
philosophy that I have to have a happy wife unless I will never have a happy life?
Mhm.
If that is the case, I can see that as being demonic. Demonic meaning that the devil is here to kill, steal, and destroy. And
Mhm.
with that statement, you are destroying your family.
Yeah.
Um, so I think it depends on how much weight you put on that statement
Mhm.
to really truly call it demonic. Now I'm sure
Yes.
there are probably some women out there or men who really truly put a lot of emphasis on that. Me, on the other hand, I hear it and I just kind of laugh, you know.
You have to laugh because I mean, you gotta know the person who's saying that too. You know what I'm saying? Like, what is their view on relationship? You know what I'm saying? To me, that's more like of a conversation between what you believe in and
Yeah.
kind of what you don't understand. Because somebody could feel that way and then drop you the science on why they feel that way. And it might make sense. I'm not saying it's going to make sense. I'm just saying they might be able to explain it to where it's like, this is why I feel that way. You know, I mean, because at the end of the day, when I think about like my grandparents, for an example, like both my grandmothers basically was just housewives. They didn't really
Hmm.
work for real. Both
Yeah.
my grandfathers was out there slaving. One of my grandfathers had his own concrete company. You know, he had all his sons and his grandchildren working for that concrete company. You stayed with them for the summer, you gonna be pouring some concrete. But like all my aunts, you know, my dad's sisters, like they didn't do none of that.
Yeah.
Not at all. Like, but I look at the way in his prism and how in the era that he grew up in, he probably was like, this is just the way it's supposed to be. It's this way. So he
Mm.
probably felt like happy wife, happy life, you know, even though he was doing him still, but that was his view of, hey, I know I'm making my wife happy. She ain't got to work. All she got to do is make sure that if food, make sure I got my breakfast when I get up in the morning, make sure I got lunch when I come home, and get that sandwich and make sure dinner's ready when I come home. That's basically what my grandmother did. Made
Mm.
all the beds, you know. I think it really just depends on like your surroundings and your environment because my dad does not have that mindset. He does not live the way my grandfather lived. So I do think some
Learned.
of it might be generational, but some of it also might be really your environment, like the things society could control or impact that type of statement, in my opinion.
Do you think the statement creates a healthy imbalance to where the focus
Mm,
is on the woman's happiness
yes.
and not necessarily the man's?
Yes. That's why I said it sounds somewhat self-centered and selfish,
Mm,
because it sounds like, oh, you have to make me happy in order for you to have a happy like now I don't know about there's another D word, demanding is what it sounds like more so than demonic. That's what it sounds. It's like I demand you make me happy. Like that sounds like that. But yes, to your question, it to me it's unhealthy too. Like it's stressful. Like I couldn't imagine waking up every day and the first thing on my mind is like, man, I gotta make her happy. Like what do I need to do today? Like what
yeah.
things do I need to make sure that's intact? It's like you walking on eggshells if you know what I'm saying, if you
Mm.
have that type of mindset, because you're never going to satisfy somebody who feels that way. You're not. Because you
Fact.
can't, oh, you can't outdo yourself. You can give 110% one day, get off work, you tired. Like, man, I can only do 90 today. Well, you just gave her 110 yesterday. That 90 is not going to be good enough, bro. Happy wife, happy life, man.
I think also this
Mm,
statement can create an environment where the woman believes that her happiness comes from the man as
mm,
opposed to inner happiness, which is
mm.
where definitely is supposed to happen. Uh
Interesting.
what do you think would happen? And I know the women are gonna come for me when I say this. If it was flipped and we said happy husband, happy life, would it resonate differently?
Man, because we different though. Like most men don't ask for a whole lot.
Mm,
So you don't have to do very much to make a man happy. You really don't. It's like a few boxes that you just need to check. It's not like you got that Google form and it's like a whole bunch of questions on there. For most men, it's three. Three things that just need to be checked off. So I don't really think it would apply well to men, like happy husband, happy because you don't really have to, you don't have not to say you don't have to work for it. Yeah, I mean, every relationship takes work, but we're simple individuals, so you don't have to go the extra mile
wow.
to make somebody happy or make a man happy. To me, not saying all men are like that, but it might be a couple of them out there that they might have them demands like my grandfather has. Like, hey, you better have his sandwich. That sandwich better be made at 12 o'clock when I walk in that door. Anime. So some men might be on it still. So
Yeah, and this day and age, I wonder if we do need to reverse it just for the simple fact to put the focus more on the husband and women learning what it takes to make their husband happy.
Mm, it's an interesting point there too.
I I don't know. As that I never live by those mantras. I just I can't. I can't. It didn't make sense. It's
The funny thing
imbalanced.
about what you said though, it could help some people who just have such a jaded view of like
Mm,
relationship reality. Like the young lady that we seen when she shared, she's not going to lift a finger for her man. You
mm,
know, that those were some strong words. And if that was reversed for her and like she
yeah.
just had to spend a month trying to make that man happy, like she would struggle because she wouldn't know. I guarantee you, like people who's like that, they don't know what that person, what their better, well, he obviously ain't a better half. She may not even know what that person really wants though, because she's so focused on what she needs, she's not even
Needs.
worried about what he needs.
Yeah. Yeah. I
So
I totally
the
agree.
reverse piece of that could be effective um, for this new generation of young ladies that just have a jaded view.
A jaded view. Moving on to our next topic. Now I'm hot. They all own me. Is it fair for men to hold on
Uh,
to past rejection or rejections? And this video that we're about to react to has like really been all over the internet recently, and it's brought a lot of controversy. So let's take a look at this video.
Came up to the girl in high school. She was like, no, I don't want you. And then once she became a baby mama, he was a CEO executive and all that. And she's like, hey, you remember me? He said, no, I don't want you. I be feeling like, respectfully, y'all is the grown-up versions of the niggas that got hurt in high school while we was out fucking with the drug dealers. Let me tell you something. We were victims then making horrible ass decisions with grown ass niggas preying on us. Y'all gotta let that shit go.
Speaking to my guys, anytime that you find yourself in a situation where you dodged somebody that you thought was for you but really wasn't, that's God protecting you. And somebody.
mm,
So I
God
think about all I can
protecting you,
think
man.
about is your boy Mike Jones. Now I'm hot, they all on me. Shout out to Mike
Uh-huh.
Jones. Uh, do you think it's fair for men to hold on to past rejection, specifically all the way back in high school?
Do I think it's fair? Mm.
I mean, Anton said you dodged a bullet.
I don't think it should be like, I don't want to say fair though, because I think it depends on what type of rejection it was though. If it was like one of them rejections where somebody was like, you stink, you're ugly, like, you know, I'm talking about just degrading somebody.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
they see you and you got that come up, things done change, you done reverse script, and you see her and she's got the bonnet on and the sweats with that muffin top. I'm holding on to that one, and and when I see somebody like that, I'm letting loose. But again, like he said, that's God protecting you because that same person who pull up on you, like, oh, how you doing? Like everything just didn't, like you just didn't tell me I was a scrub back then. I mean, because that can be hurtful, especially when you're young. You know what I'm saying? Like when you young, you really trying to find your way, and
yeah,
basically somebody tells you that you ain't ish, and it could be somebody that you thought was dope and you looked up to them. You know what I'm saying? And it's like, oh, okay, her, that's wifey material. Then you find out she's like clowning you on the low. It's like, that's a tough pill to swallow. It really is, especially when you 16, 15, that's a tough pill to swallow. Your arms might be down to your ankles, and you look goofy, big head, that type of thing, skinny, that
braids,
type of stuff can
yeah,
really impact you. But uh at some point we all got to move past it. We all got to be adults. Not to say that I wouldn't be cordial, but it's not like I'm just gonna forget that you was just over there on that foolishness. I just can't forget that. Like, especially if somebody that you had your eye on, that you locked in on, you
yeah,
radar zeroed in on this person, and come to find out this person ain't nothing like you thought, and the person like really tried to clown. So fair or foul, I'm kind of in the middle on that because I do think there's a place for it. Because disrespect is disrespect. Like you can't like just shake. Because we all creatures, we all human. When you
yeah,
see
yeah,
somebody in the streets that disrespected you before, it's the first thing you gonna do is like, oh, what's going on? How you doing? No, that is not the first thing that you're gonna do. Don't matter how long ago it was. It just is. Like, because we remember that. That's our
Yeah.
last impression of that individual. You know, they left a
Yeah.
lasting impression. So
Yeah. I mean, I think this is where your discernment comes in, where because it's like the Christian in you wants to give that person a second chance, but that
once.
wisdom that yet wants, but that
Hmm.
wisdom in you is like,
Smooth.
most people have a hard time changing. So if she was only after the dope boy because he had X, Y, and Z, she's only really after me because I have X, Y, and Z. So
Hey,
is it fair? No, I don't think it's
no.
fair. But I think men should utilize the wisdom that they have to make that decision, because I'm sure it's going to be different for each
Hmm.
situation. You know what I mean?
Yeah. But don't try to blame me for your mistakes that you made, though. You know what I'm
Well,
saying? Like,
and so that's my next question. Should you forgive the women for passing you over because they were young and naive, if that was the excuse?
I forgave all of them, but you
Okay.
don't have to give me an excuse. See, that's where we get upset. That's where it turns into the fair or the foul side of it. It's like, look, I don't care like if you was chasing a dope boy. Like I already knew that. Like now you talking to me like I'm dumb. Like I didn't know what you was looking for because I seen who you was with. So you don't have to qualify that now because you older and you grew up. You know what I'm saying? Now you in a better
Yeah.
place mentally and you can see, you know, you can see through the forest now, but you don't have to qualify it though. Because I already know that. I think that's where a lot of men is like, you know what, pause on that. And that's a turn off because that lets me know she can't look past. You know,
Hmm.
you still having a hard time because you feel like a victim almost. Like, oh, well, I was hoodwinked. No, girl, that's a choice you made. We all make choices, you know, whether they're right or wrong choices,
Well,
and
yeah.
how we deal with them later in life is what shapes us. But if you have to tell me and make an excuse for what you did, just say, no, you did what you did. We don't even have to talk about the past. When you dwell on the past, that's when we can't even do anything future state. That's where I feel like that's where women fall off when it comes to that whole playing that victim card as if somebody wronged you. No, you just made a bad decision like everybody, like every other human being does. We all make horrible decisions in life. We
Facts.
deal with them in different
Facts.
ways, but you don't have to make an excuse for those decisions because we all make bad decisions, and that's a turnoff. It just is.
But to her point, I will have to agree with her in the fact that in my late 20s, I did have more older gentlemen approaching
Mhm.
me than I did men of my age.
Oh yeah,
Even in
yeah.
the church, I had older deacons sending their sons my way. And these sons were 10, 8 years older than me. So definitely there is at an age in which these men do come at the girls. But as
Oh,
you indicated, it's a choice. Whether you
hmm,
choose to be with this man who is older than you and established,
hmm,
or you get with somebody who is more, I should say, similar, equally yoked. Let's just say
hmm,
that.
hmm, hmm,
Do you think that this rejection that from your youth
hmm.
has any basically can shape your future relationships? So you being
Mm,
rejected in high school, did it have any
mhm.
effect on your future, your college, currently now relationships
No, not
because of
really.
the rejection?
No, not really. Because again, like once you kind of move on and you got somebody else on your radar, you ain't thinking about that other person. I think that's the funny thing about when somebody does try to come back and kind of tries to like not show interest, but show interest in wanting to talk, kind of like wanting to get to know you.
Mm,
That's the part that kills me because it's like, look, I kind of got past that a long time ago. Like you just like an associate to me. Like I'll see you and be like, "Hey, what's good? How you doing? You doing good? Cool, peace." We don't have to have that rekindling because there's nothing to rekindle, really. You know what I'm saying? So, like, I get it.
yeah.
I feel like that's where people like really mess up. It's like homie said, like we didn't work out or we didn't come together for a reason. Like us seeing each other 20 years later don't mean we're gonna have a magically have a union. No, like we ain't been in each other's space, in each other's realm for
Mm,
20 years. So there's somebody out there for everybody, but at the end of the day, I don't need to retrace my steps. I don't need to go backwards. And I think that's kind of like the point where we all should be. Like we don't have to moonwalk
yeah, yeah.
because we liked somebody when we was 16. Now somebody's 36. We don't have to have any type of relationship. Like we just don't. So nobody should feel ashamed
Shame. Yeah,
for
yeah.
like you don't have to apologize to me for how you treated me. Like I got over that. You know. I would respect somebody more for acting like it didn't happen, you know, for real. Instead of trying to say, oh, I'm really sorry about what I did. Like, girl, like when was that again? Because I damn near forgot about it. You know what I'm saying? Like now you trying to bring up old stuff. Now you about to have me on one again and thinking about
Apparently, she was thinking about you, Jammer.
it.
Ray said, "Is that meme about the girl going for the thug life guy over the nerdy guy more myth than fact?"
Mm, mm. That's a great question, Ray.
I don't know, Ray. In my experience, for me as a woman, and I mind you, I'm a bit older than some of these folks, but it was fact. I no lie. I was attracted to the thugs, the dope boys. That's who I was attracted to. Now, I chose not to move forward because I knew one,
Hmm.
my daddy wasn't having it. And two,
Hmm.
living that lifestyle, I know you're gonna end up in one or two places, in
A
that grave
situation.
or in a jail.
A situation.
So for me, yes, I was more attracted to that life. Not to mention, this is where it is so important that we raise our women to respect themselves and to know what to look for, because we can easily get caught up in the right now
Hmm.
versus later,
Absolutely.
because I knew my worth. I knew that that was only going to be a short time, you know, whatever you want to call it, infatuation, that I didn't
Hmm.
act upon it. But there are many, many women teaching their children, their
Hmm.
daughters, to go and get that bag.
Right.
But how long is that gonna last?
Right. I mean, it's just like that old saying, you pay for what you get. If you want that steak, but yet you pulling up to McDonald's and you at the dollar menu, you pay for what you're not gonna get the steak. You go, you gonna get that fast food. So it's like people are attracted to things that they know that they can easily get,
Mm,
but they don't want the things that they know they really gotta wait on. Like because people we ain't patient enough.
right.
That's the problem. Because it looks cool, it looks fun, you know. Man, I can ride this dude's car. We can go here, go there. He pulls up to the parties, like blah 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 blah. You know what I'm saying? Like it's flash, it's appearance.
Yeah,
You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
But you really aren't patient enough to wait for things that's really going to bless you in the end.
It's worth
And
it.
those are
Yes.
decisions that women make, but it's like you don't have to apologize for that. That's just what you wanted at that time. It's cool.
Well, so going into that, do you think women truly regret those past choices? Or is it about the fact that they see this success in the man now?
That's a good question because I think it depends on the woman,
Mm,
right? I mean, some women probably don't regret that because it helped them so much, but it was such a wake up call and such a learning lesson for them. They whole mind was was blown. It's like, okay, I can see. I can see out here now. I see, because they end up seeing another, how women be so competitive. They end up seeing another woman with the dude that they really should have been with. You know what I'm saying? The nice dude, nice job, respectful, go to church with him. You know what I'm saying? Speak
yeah.
to your mama. You know what I'm saying? Shake your daddy's hand. That dude. And then you over here with Pookie, and Pookie's locked up, you know. And in some situations, Pookie will leave you with a baby, and you sitting there with a baby and no man to help you. All those things are lessons, but they're also choices, and
Yeah.
you got to live with them choices. And how you come out of those choices is what's really going to define who you are in the long run. That's what women got to really understand. But then you got those women who do regret it
Mm,
and they start chasing things that they really can't achieve. It's like, okay, now you want the Tay Diggs type dude. You want the Morris Chestnut. Like, you're not going to get that guy. Like, why are you going for that now? You're doing this off of regret because you regretted your choices in the past
mm.
instead of learning from them. Now you think Dwayne
Ooh.
Johnson is a possibility for you. No, girl, get your head on. Forget that. You made a bad choice. It's cool. You know what I'm saying? It's cool.
I mean, what's the saying that if you regret what you did, you really didn't learn from
Mm-mm.
your situation?
No, not at all.
Do you do you think it's hypocritical for women to want to be in the relationship with a man that they previously ignored?
Man.
Because you know what I'm saying? It's like I didn't want him because he was a
Again,
nerd. He's the same person, but
it
now I
depends
see what
on
he got.
this. Yeah. The wake up, the humble. I wouldn't say sometimes it's humble pie though. Sometimes it really is,
Mm.
you know. And sometimes you just gotta take a salute to that person who cooked that humble pie up for you, and just tell that person thank you because now I see, you know. So I don't think it's necessarily hypocritical. I do think it's funny, in a sense, but I don't think it's hypocritical because
I'm glad you can
uh
laugh about it because a lot of I feel
yeah,
like a lot
you
of the
can laugh
same
about
people
it
do that, you know?
because none of us are perfect and we choose the paths that we choose because the door, that wasn't the door we were supposed to go through. And God always opens up another one for you. So if he opened up that door and there was that nerdy dude standing right there behind it, then that's the situation you were supposed to be in. But it's still funny that you chose that other door that led you down that dark road. You knew it was dark, but you still went down it anyway. So it's kind of like shame on you. But hey, welcome to the real world now. Now you got you somebody who's good for you. You ain't got Pookie's. You got out of Pookie's shadow.
Not the Pookies. Oh my.
Hmm.
Let's jump on our next topic, which is this came about when
That couple though.
yeah, like the
Mm.
issues that Tia and her husband are going through, at least with the divorce. And now it's really coming out why she divorced him. Because at first it was, everybody's like, why? You know what I mean? What's going on? So the question is divorce for happiness selfish
Mm.
or is it necessary?
Mm.
Take a look quickly at what Tia had to say on to the Today Show a while back when she first announced her divorce.
Yes, I feel like when I started to, again, like I said, focus on myself, but there was this sadness. And I knew that life is short. I had actually, lost my grandmother. We had lost Elena Housley. And both of them at the same time, there was just an aha moment in me where I said, you know what? You need to tap in, see what's really going on with your happiness. Life is short. Let's go. Let's start working on you and really focusing on what really, really matters here, which is at the end of the day, your peace, your joy, and your happiness. So I would say that. And I was in therapy as well.
Yeah.
I'm a huge fan of therapy. So it was all of that, together that gave me that, aha moment.
What were you the most
Jammer,
The aha moment.
her aha moment. Do you think personal happiness should take priority over stability of a family?
Man, that big F word
Mm.
it's more than just you know. So I heard a lot of I in what she was saying. It sounded like a lot of
It was a personal decision. She
yeah,
made it.
and it sounded like a
Very
lot
personal.
of like I can't say soul searching. Because she used like her grandmother passing and some other like tragic events that led her to this decision, but it didn't sound, I never heard him. We
Mm.
we talked about this because they got children too. So it was like it didn't sound like they really sat down and talked this through. Maybe they did, and maybe she just kind of gave us like the high level summary and made it more personal to her without like divulging into the relationship like that. But I feel like if you in that type of partnership, it should always be like, look, we just decided it was in our best interest, both of us, to go our separate ways. Then you can kind of say, this was, we needed a piece for both of us. And this is ultimately going to make us happy. And this is why this move was necessary. And we made this decision as a family and be done with it. But there was a lot of I need. That's what I've heard a whole lot of.
And let me say, I am not picking on Tia. I know some of
I'm not
the
picking on her
women are
either.
gonna come in for me. It's just that her life is on this grand stage for all to
Hmm.
see. And she is not the only one who has chosen to divorce for happiness. She just happens to be all over the internet, hence the reason
Mhm.
why we chose this video to react to.
Mhm.
So I have this is why it's important for me to teach others about the importance of marriage and
Mhm.
understanding the vows that you take and clearly learning that when you introduce children into the dynamic, it takes on a whole new meaning.
Preach. Mhm.
And that you should never make these decisions lightly because, again, this is forever. At
Mhm.
least it's supposed to be. Your
Mhm.
marriage to your spouse is to be until you leave this earth.
Mhm.
And I think that your personal happiness, to a certain standpoint, should not take over or should not be a priority over your family because you have taken vows. If anything, you need to talk to God. There's
Mhm.
other ways I believe she could have identified and found her happiness besides a divorce. Do you think society encouraged her to make this move?
Mm.
Because we're all about, finding your inner happiness. And if that
Mhm.
means you have to let people go, then let them go.
Yeah, I mean, I think society probably did weigh heavy into
Mm.
her decision. And I don't know how much value that she puts in family. Maybe she puts a lot of value in family. I mean, again, I'm assuming
Got a
here.
twin.
I'm assuming based off what she's saying, but it seems like there's just other things that's dictating her decisions, and I just feel that
Mm.
it is selfish to me when you start doing that, because when she mentioned therapy, it sounded like therapy was just for her. Like I had to get my life together. It's like, well, what about our life? You know, because even if you both come to that decision, like that's perfectly fine. That's just what it's meant to be. But at the end of the day, I'm a firm believer in what you just said. Like their union should mean something to you, and you should want to make a joint decision when you bring children into this world because they're going to be impacted more than you think.
Yeah.
And they see what's going on. It's kind of hard to explain to a child when they've grown up with both their parents and that child is 10, 11 years old. And you got to say, yeah, mom and dad splitting up, you
Mm.
know, because you never want your child to think they're a reason for it.
Mhm.
So that's I can only imagine how tough of a conversation that is. But I mean, salute to Tia though. I mean, she seemed like that was a peaceful moment for her. But, you know,
At
again,
what cost?
her values might just be a little bit different than mine, and that's fine.
True. So, how do you think you can find yourself and still remain married? Because I'm sure there are plenty spouses out
Mhm.
there who are quote unquote unhappy and wanting to stay in the marriage, but on the fence about it. How do you think you can find yourself in
And
and still be in a marriage?
you can find yourself just by talking,
Mm.
by putting that on the table and just airing it out, whether it's something, because it could be, you never know when you air things out if it's really you,
Mhm.
or it may not even be your spouse. It could just be you. You could be letting work impact a marriage. You can be letting friends impact a marriage. You can be letting Things that's outside of the marriage foundation impact the marriage. So you got to just talk about that, and you make those type of decisions as a family, because it may not be both of y'all. 'Cause one
Mm,
person could be completely happy and good, but you got to share some of that burden. That's what your spouse is there for. Let them carry some of that weight for you.
mhm.
Y'all in it together. Like, you don't have to. That's where the selfishness comes in. I feel it's like now you kind of looking at things, through your eyes, and you're not really looking at things through your spouse's eyes, because they're just. And it could be one of them spouses who's constantly asking, "Well, what's going on? You all right? You good?" And now, yeah, I'm fine, but she really ain't fine.
Mhm.
It's like, just
Facts.
talk to them,
Facts.
because you never know what they can say that will breathe better life into you. So that
Wow.
can be your therapy. You may not even need to see no therapist.
Wow.
Your spouse could actually be there to,
Mm.
you know what I'm saying? Like, embrace you. That's the whole point of it. We embrace each other's flaws, the good, the bad, and the ugly. We embrace it all.
I know what worked for me because as a mom, shortly after having children, there's a moment where we're for some women depressed. What
Hmm.
level of depression that looks like is different for every woman. And it's because the whole mom thing is new to us, in addition to trying to be a wife and care for the home, and for some work. And we lose sight a lot of times of who we are. And what helped me, and I'm so thankful for my tribe. Ooh, I'm so thankful for my tribe. One, having you a good tribe to
Hmm.
help with whatever help you need with. Maybe go pick up the kids so that you can go sit in the coffee shop and be by yourself to learn who you are. You should have no qualms about having time to yourself. I
Hmm.
think the only way you can truly understand and find yourself is when you have time to yourself.
Yes.
And you don't necessarily have to leave the marriage to get that time to
Mm-mm.
yourself. If that looks like once a month, if that looks like once a quarter, you do something by yourself. That's the only way you'll be able to, quote unquote, find yourself and identify what makes you happy. And then do those
Mhm.
things that make you happy. Ah, the new generation don't want to put the work in for being what it takes to for a lasting marriage. Again, marriage is not for everybody, but you have to be able and want to put in the work to make it last, because it is not easy. And if that looks like you going to a spa day all day, 1 month, 1 day out of the month, then that's what you do. Whatever makes you happy. But understand,
Mhm.
and I think this is where the misconception comes, women are so caught up in social media that they believe that they are supposed to be
Mm.
happy 7 days away, 7 days a week, 365 days. That's not how life works, unfortunately. And what you see on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok is not reality. You have to understand that there are going to be days where you're unhappy, and that's okay. That's okay. I Do you think we need to start taking more accountability for
Mm.
our own happiness, as opposed to, and I'm not saying Tia's doing this. Maybe she is, maybe she's not. I don't know. Um, as opposed to blaming the marriage or the spouse.
I do. Um, because again, sometimes it can be a you problem. It has nothing to do with the family, but we
Mhm.
use the family as an excuse. Like you said, it's getting that personal time to get to know self. It's getting that time to be able to woosah. I mean, life ain't supposed to be easy,
Yeah.
and there are some things you need to be responsible for on your own. That's keeping your mental health in check, uh, making sure that you personally take that time to disconnect, to get away, to appreciate the things in life that, just to kind of take a step back and say, look, I've came pretty far. I've done this, I've done that. I got a family. It helps you to better appreciate what you got,
Yeah.
instead of blaming something that has nothing to do with what you're upset about.
And I wonder too if a lot of these women who are quote unquote unhappy, do they even really know what makes them happy? What it takes to make them happy? Or is it just a whole fantasy? Because we want to live this fairy tale life. I don't know.
I
It
don't
might
think
go
some of them
into the
know.
whole expectations. You know,
Hmm.
well, we have this expectation that our man is supposed to be perfect, but we're not. Huh?
And
Y'all
men
tell
don't be
me in the
expecting perfection.
chat. Is it selfish or is it necessary? Let us
Men don't be
know.
expecting perfection, you know, at all.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Hmm. Well, Jammer, I thank you once again
Hmm.
for joining us tonight.
Yes, indeed.
Ladies and gents, thank you for showing up again. We will be here next week, same time. Have a great weekend
Blessed weekend.
and blessed weekend. And we can't
Happy
wait to
birthday,
see.
MLK. You know,
Yes. You got
happy
any
born day
plans?
to him.
You got any
Hmm.
plans? Oh, I'm relaxing, chilling. Hey, he on that strike, the labor. I'm
Facts.
chilling.
Big facts. Hmm.
All right, y'all. We will catch y'all next week.